Hello and welcome to today's video on high altitude investing. In today's video we are going to be doing from start to finish technical analysis on Ripple number 2. We already did this coin once, so let's go ahead and check out where it's gone since our last predictions and go from there. Alright, so here's the Ripple chart currently, but if we go to my trading view and we look at the from start to finish technical analysis, which you can find this in the description of my last one that I did on Ripple, I said very bullish on this chart. If we can break 95 billion in crypto market cap, we definitely broke that level. So I was telling people that it is a good buy area here and that it was bullish if we break this resistance line. And also, I remember quite a few people telling me, no way, this is dead in the comments, and this Ripple's dead, and there's no way, it's been downtrending for months. You have to remember that I noticed an inversal pattern here, this inverse hand shoulders right here on these candlesticks. And you have to remember that when something's been dumping for a long time, it has to bounce at some point, right? So you can't just expect something because it's been going down to forever continue going down. That's why you have to learn technical analysis so you can know when that might shift, when there's a shift in momentum back on the upside or the bearish movement back on the downside. So in this case, if we click the play button here, we broke out. I stated that this would be our first resistance area. Sure enough, the bodies of these candles have been rejecting off of the 382 area. And then we fell back to the trend line, and then we broke high. We've been just kind of riding this trend line. So it obviously did go as I stated it would, and I also stated that the first sell area, if we break this resistance right here, this all-time resistance at 39 cents, first sell area would be around 70 cents. I think it could easily overshoot to $1 if we do break out like that, but that is the first projected target that I would be looking to take some profits is at 70 cents. So now let's look at the Ripple chart currently without that stuff. You can see that it kind of hit Ichimoku cloud resistance here at 27 cents, got rejected. If we look at it against the Bitcoin, Ripple Bitcoin. So if we look at this against Bitcoin, we do see that this was a bearish engulfing candlestick on the Ichimoku resistance here. And I wanted to point this out mainly because if you look at the smaller time frames on Ripple, if you go to like 3-hour candlesticks and then you go into the fractals, clear back here. Let me zoom out here for a second. Alright, so if we look back at the last pump that we've had, because it basically is fractaling out the same pattern as the last pump. If we come back and look at it, from when we had that inverse head and shoulders on the last one, let me zoom in here so we can get a better view. So we had an inverse head and shoulders on Ripple right here, just like we did recently on Ripple again. So it was following the fractal pattern that when it's done dipping, it has an inverse head and shoulders. Then it seems to pump up and hit the Ichimoku cloud and fall back just like it did, and then pump up and fall back one more time. If we look here, it does fall back one more time, and then it breaks out very high here. So in my opinion with Ripple, and this goes for both against the dollar and against Bitcoin, I'll show you against the dollar what this might look like. In my opinion, we could see one more fall back to the major support trend here, but it really depends. We could see one more fall back to the inverse head and shoulders pattern somewhere here at like 4,100 sats. But either way, I've just been accumulating and buying in the dips. I've been buying some, like around here is when I started accumulating Ripple. So I started buying a little too early. I started buying back here too, and then made a little profit here, and then bought back in and took a loss up here at the top. And then we came all the way back down here, and I've been accumulating really since I saw these exhaustion wicks. Once I noticed these exhaustion wicks, I was like, okay, this is starting to bottom out. It went just a little further down against the Ichimoku before it had its breakout, but it did bottom out here. So I'm very bullish on Ripple still overall. I do think that it could retest this area one more time. But if it does, then it should look something like this. We'd just see like a fallback like this, and then it should like round out at this low. It would be like kind of the same like rounded out shape right here. And then I suspect it to pop clear up out of this and go to the 382 Fibonacci. So if I click on Fibonacci, go from the bottom to the top, the next expected resistance would be the 382. Let me grab this and oops. Style 382. So yeah, on the previous fractal, when it broke out, it went to the 382 right here. This little pump in the market. After it hit its bottom formation, it bumped up to the 382. So that's kind of what I suspect will happen here in Ripple, is we will either round out right here, or it might just take off early because of how bullish the markets are in general. That's why I've just been accumulating all in this zone, because I don't know exactly where it's going to take off right here. Sometimes the fractals don't play precisely perfectly how they did last time. But I do suspect this to break out of this area, head up towards the 382, around 15K sats in this area. And then if it does that, it should make a bull flag formation, just like last time, and then head up towards our all-time highs, and possibly we could see a dollar ripple. So let's check out XRP against the dollar too. I like to look at both charts. The dollar is the one that I use to draw my Fibonacci generally, because it bounces properly against the dollar. If it's against Bitcoin, then it goes clear all the way back down to like the 88 retracement. But against the dollar, you can see that this bounced on the 618. So I'll show you what that is. And there's really no difference, because if you sell Bitcoin to USD, I mean Ripple to USD, it's going to be the exact same value as if you sell it to Bitcoin. The only difference is you're selling to a more valuable or a cheaper Bitcoin, but you're gonna get the same value out of it. So if you have 100,000 Ripple and you sell it into the Bitcoin market, it's going to give you the same value, the same amount of equivalent US dollars as if you sold it into the Tether market. So it really doesn't matter which one that you actually trade back and forth between, but the charting matters, because Bitcoin has such volatility that it distorts the chart and makes it go lower than it does against the dollar. As you can see, we bounced very clearly off the 618, which this is what I was talking about in my start to finish video on Ripple, is that it would bounce off the 618. It did bounce very clearly here. Then we shook out all the bag holders, because there's a bunch of people that have been buying all the way down, and they're bag holding. So as soon as they had a chance to sell, they sold all of their coins. And so that's kind of what brought this back down to the support area here. Then we bounced very hard back up out of this. So I do suspect this to either fall back onto the Ichimoku cloud right here at around 20 cents against the dollar and then break, or to honestly, it looks like we could see a breakout of this railroad. If we break above this railroad at 28 cents on Ripple, I suspect it to head up towards previous resistance against the dollar and head up towards the 382 retracement against Bitcoin. So that would be, again, 15,000 Satoshis on Bitcoin and around 40 cents, 41 cents against the dollar. So yeah, it's definitely following the plan. I'm still holding to my targets. If we hit up towards this resistance like I think we will, then I'm still saying that 70 cents mark around $1 is very valid. So I'll just draw two possible scenarios. Let me take this and take a horizontal line. Oh, I had a quick question for you guys at the end of this video too. I'll make sure to ask you. I think that I wanted to get your opinion on something, so stay tuned for that. So there's the 70 cent sell-off mark. And then I'll draw like two possible outcomes. This would be outcome 1, and this would be outcome 2. I mean, obviously it's possible that it just dumps from here. It is the less likely outcome, so I'm not going to even draw that. But it is very possible. This is why you use stop losses in trading, is because you have to have an area to sell where if you're wrong, you take your loss, because you're not willing to risk the volatility of the market any longer. So, use stop losses always in trading. There's 2. So either way, we are heading up to this area here in Ripple. Those are the two outcomes that I really see happening. And from here, I would suspect a dip down again with either outcome, whether this first one where it just takes off now or the second one where it falls back to the Ichimoku. If you're trying to buy this, I wouldn't enter right here. I'd wait for a retracement either way. Even if the retracement's up here, I would wait for a retracement because you want to have a good risk to reward ratio so you can use a tight stop loss. And then I would suspect this to bounce up towards here. And again, this is all speculation. You know, I can't be a wizard. I can't get every single move in a market perfectly correct. But this is kind of what I would suspect to happen if we do continue on the bull end for Ripple here, is that we'll see some type of a movement like this. And that would be very, very, very bullish. We would, you know, expect this thing to head towards 70 cents to maybe even $1 up here on the Fibonacci extensions. So, you know, just basically keep your eyes on Ripple. If you don't have any, wait for a retracement to buy. Like I said, I've been telling people to buy since here on this. I was like bullish if we break out. That video was made 07/30/2017. So basically right in the dip is when I was telling people to buy, and it broke resistance like the next day or two, fell back onto support and broke clear out to 29 cents, fell back to support and broke right back to where it hit resistance. So the bulls are controlling this market right now because every time it hits support it bounces extremely hard. So this is, the bulls are in charge right now in this market. So yeah, I will drop this in the description. As for that little question that I had for you guys, I was curious if you would be interested in a TradingView course. Basically, if I made a 6-7 video series, depending on how many videos I need to get the content, you know, 5-10 minutes per video, where I just explain all the tools in TradingView. I show you how to use the Fibonacci retracement. I show you how to use arrows and draw on it, and then the Ichimoku clouds. I would even give you guys my personal settings for all of the TradingView settings that I use. Show you how to publish your own charts, and just really go over the whole TradingView platform in general. If this is something you'd be interested in, just go ahead and let me know in the comments so I can kind of get a head count, because if enough people find demand for this, I'll go ahead and make the course. You know, I would keep it under $100. Don't know exactly what I would charge for it yet, but it would be fair priced, just like kind of like an intro into using TradingView and doing technical analysis on there. But really just like how to go over the tools and a little bit about TA, because I already have my technical analysis course, my VIP course. So it's just an idea I had. If you guys want me to go ahead and do that, let me know and I'll make the time to do that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in today's video. I hope that you learned something. If you have any questions, go ahead and let me know in the comments box below as well, or my email address, highaltitudeinvesting@gmail.com. I appreciate you guys tuning in today, and as always, stay profitable.